Oh my god, and all the excitement. I completely forgot to talk about no, not Dandel. Oh my god, I forgot to. I saw the movie Longlegs. I have indeed watched the movie Longlegs. And I don't have a whole lot of thoughts about it. Like, I don't have to say, I think, as nearly as much as I had to say about, um, can I wear hats? Like, I think, like, I look at myself in hats and, like, the hair, it does a lot, like, at the sides. And I don't know if I can wear hats. So I love to watch scary things. I love to consume horror. I love to create horror. You know what I mean? I haven't seen as many, like, horror movies, or read as many, like, horror books, actually, I think, as, like, most people, like, and not for lack of trying, like, I I tried to force myself into, like, an Evil Dead phase, where I was just gonna watch all the Evil Dead movies. I can't really force myself into phases. I have to stumble into them. And the first Evil, it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot of, I just couldn't get into it. You know, I tried to read, Mr. Poe. I couldn't do it. I tried to read Lovecraft. I really couldn't do it. I've been trying to read this horror book right now. Your Shadow Self Still Remains. And I just can't do it. And I think that is just a different, and I don't think and it's weird because, like, I write, like, and every time I write, there seems to be some, like, terribly horrific element. And people go, Games, this was super dark. And I go, yeah, I'm noticing that too. I don't know how that happened. I was just trying to do, like a regular ass, contemporary romance, and now there's a lot of body horror and existential fear that I'm feeling rereading this passage. So I really like to create the sort of things, and maybe it's because I feel scared a lot. But I also, like, I always am going, like, yeah, I want to watch this scary thing so I can, like, feel fear, you know? I want to feel alive. I want to feel something. And so that's sort of the mindset I went into Longlegs with, because everybody's been talking about, this is the scariest movie of the year, and I don't know what I expected, but, like, I don't really find myself feeling afraid of like content that's, like, supposed to be scary, and maybe that's just because, like, I'm not watching. I could conceivably be scared if I watched, like, some more extreme things, but I'm not. I don't really have that much of an interest in seeing people slice off their legs and shit on each other's faces. Like, that's just not. I don't need to feel something that bad. You know what I mean? Like, I could literally just read the letters that me and my ex used to exchange if I really want to scare myself. You know, I don't need to watch people, like, what is it called? Like, vomit core? People scare me in the world. I sometimes read, like, the Wikipedia pages of, like, these banned films, and you're so right for that. That film should have been banned. You should be locked away in jail. Why do we need to commit that thing to celluloid? You know what I mean? Why couldn't we just write it in our little... And I understand, like, writing extreme, but, like, going out of your way to film it, like, putting real life people... And you want to watch that back? I do not know. I do not know. Maybe you need to go to jail and go to prison for a little bit and think it through a little bit more. Like, not because you need to be punished, but because I truly believe you need some reflection. But I saw Longlegs, and I wasn't terrified by it. And I'm okay. Like, I also go to consume, like, horror content because, like, I don't do it, like, on the regular. Like, it's not, like, my main genre in terms of things that I like to watch and read. But when I do consume horror, like horror content, I do find it like interesting, and I love to think through the things. I love to watch it, and maybe I do enjoy. And like when I'm writing it, I write it because I find it's interesting. Like all the like the high, because you can't really get like those high emotional peaks, I don't think, without being scared out of your fucking mind, like scared for your life, and like also like in an existential way, like what is my life become, like who am I, like what is this world, like that sort of moment of crises, I think is like, I don't know, like the highest form of drama that you can have besides like murder, suicide for love reasons. And that is kind of a horror moment. Like Shakespeare is kind of horror content. But we're talking about Longlegs. I think people are coming here because they're thinking about Longlegs. They don't want to hear me. If you want it, I don't know. This is just my reactions and my thoughts to Longlegs. So, yeah. We're 6 minutes into this video. I haven't talked about the movie. Okay, so I wasn't scared, but I found it interesting, and like I think Longlegs is like a very well-made movie. Like it hit all the beats. Like I think like the composition in terms of like editing, and like I think the script was immaculate. Just in terms of writing, was really good. I thought it was really great performances, really great direction. Just because like in the performances they all sort of live in the same like uncanny world. It felt very theatrical. Like I'm like into like fiction and plays mostly. I'm not really like a film person, but I can tell like when something has like the markings and like the vibe of like experimental theater, and this definitely had that, which is really exciting. Yeah, okay. So, thumbs up there. I just like, and I really like, I felt really excited in the beginning. This is going to have a lot of spoilers. I felt really excited in the beginning about the premise, which is like this sidekick. So it was kind of like Sons of the Lambs, but like sidekick, like the detective young lady in the FBI in like what was it like the 70s or the 80s or so, and I felt like, ooh, so she's a sidekick, that's kind of cool, like I kind of love that. But then like it just like once I kind of figured out, okay, we're gonna be doing like a demonic, like devils, like satanic sort of movie, I sort of rolled my eyes. And here's why I sort of rolled my eyes. I feel like when are we as a culture, when are we as a society going to move past like this instinct to like say quotes from the Bible and expect people to feel, quotes from the Old Testament, and expect people to feel like overwhelming sense of dread and fear? Because yeah, like when are we gonna move past as a culture, like the Bible itself being the source of horror, or like vague devils and demons being scary? Like when are we going to do some critical thinking and some critical reflection? Okay, why are the materials of the Bible so scary? And I feel like there was definitely a connection that could have been made, and the connection was not made. It was just sort of like, oh yeah, don't you agree? It was just, it went too much off of the assumed horror of Satan, devils, demons. It went off like religious fanaticism. It went off too much of the assumed horror of these things. Why aren't you convinced? I feel like there needs to be some level of argument if you are creating like a piece of horror, or really like a piece of any sort of any art that is supposed to evoke a specific emotion. There has to be an argument somewhere in there about why this detail, why these themes, why this aspect of the story is scary, is romantic, is tragic. Like, there needs to be an argument there. And I feel like too often and too easily we just skip over the argument and we just go off of the assumed, like, cultural understandings of, okay, this is a concept that is scary, you know? And I feel like, and I don't think that was truly present in any aspect of the movie except for the plot, right? Because I feel like in the direction, in the acting, like the vibes were definitely there. The vibes were 100% there, and I love the atmosphere. And I could tell, like, it was very selective, very, some of these shots, some of the score, definitely, like the editing for sure, the performances and the direction that sort of pulled these performances out of the actors, I thought were definitely living in it painted a very clear world and did a lot of good world building. But the problem that I absolutely have is that the story did not feel connected. Like, it was like, why, like, okay. Like, for a movie that's that specific and that special, I really thought that the plot was going to be something that was special, or like the engine of the horror was going to be something that was specific and connected as well. And it just was not. It was just vaguely, okay, devils and demons. Isn't it so scary that this doll is possessed? Isn't everybody afraid of possessed dolls? Ew, so creepy. Oh my God, reading these Bible quotes. Oh my God, the pentagram. Oh my God, it's the shape of a pentagram. Aren't you scared? Isn't everybody automatically scared of the pentagram? Make the argument. Let's do some critical reflection about these verses of the Old Testament that we're pulling out. What is it about religion that is horrifying? What aspect of religion is connected to human nature in a way that is scary, okay? What does it make people do? And there was some extreme actions taken by the mother, but it was to protect her child. It wasn't really in the interest of religion. Like, I feel like there needs to be that connection. And maybe, like, the people the minds behind the film, like the people who were doing the script, the people who were, doing the direction, like the filmmakers, felt like that connection was really obvious. And, you don't want to, like, spoon feed information to the audience, but I think that sometimes things, when we're creating things, like, because it's in our mind and in our head, which should happen to a lesser extent in movies because there's, like, a whole team behind it, right? It's not just, like, trapped in, like, one person's head, where they're sort of, like, spiraling and talking to themselves, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of things about the creative process is delusion, is psychosis, but maybe that can be a different video. But, like, it wasn't reading, it wasn't clear. And I understand, like, listen, call me out for being like a person who's slow to understand things. I'm not the quickest. I don't know. Every time you read a book in high school, everybody was looking at the theme here, and I just wasn't. I was on a different way. I was talking about something different. I raised my hand and I said, "Oh yeah, I think this connects in this way," and the teacher would go, "Oh yeah, I never thought about it like that," and then move on. You know what I mean? And everybody else would pick out some other metaphor, and I'd go, "Oh, I missed that entirely." So I maybe I'm the only one who was sitting in the theater going, like, what is the point of this? But I was going, what is the point of this? And I was getting annoyed because, like, I just feel like it's like, really? And, like, I feel like there were a lot of unanswered, like, what is long legs? Are we talking about spiders here? Why the snakes? Like, I get having specific details to, like, sort of build out an atmosphere and build out a world. But, like, who was this man? Who was he? I don't know. I feel like there's a certain way to introduce unanswered and unexplained things in a movie where you sort of go, wow, like, what did I just watch? But I left the theater going, like, who was this man? Why was he literally like that? Like, who was he? Why was he like that? maybe it was because I was like resisting that the devils and the demons the whole time through the movie. I was like, it's just not gonna just be a Satan movie. It's just not. It's gonna be something else. There's got to be something deeper, and there wasn't. Like, and it was. I saw people going like, yeah, like I wasn't a fan that I thought it was gonna be like a procedural, and it just wasn't. I'm just also not really sure what people were afraid of. Like, what part of it was scary? What part of it was like, this is the scariest movie I've ever seen, like chills to my core, like I left feeling deeply unsettled. Like, I don't really understand where that's coming from. And maybe it is because like I'm not operating with the equipment that everybody else is operating with, but I'm not understanding like why I was so afraid. But yeah, I feel like it could have been like a little bit more examination, like critical examination into like even into like demonic possession. You don't want to be too religious, too Christian pilled. Okay, why are you evoking the Bible if you're not going to really deal with the Bible? I feel like that is also something that happens a lot in horror, where we're going off of the we are assuming, you are assuming, you're only operating off of an assumption, and it's airless, it's anemic, because the whole foundation, the whole engine of your horror is built into something as vaporous and ungraspable as an assumption. You have to start concrete. Or you don't have to do anything. But I feel like it feels much more connected when you start off concrete. And we did not start off in the concrete space. And it felt so disconnected, and I don't know. I wasn't living for it. Like, I feel like a horror movie that I felt like it was very connected to itself. I saw the TV Glow, and while like the similar thing, there were a couple of things that was like really scary, of like really images like of creatures on the screen, and I won't spoil that movie, but like creatures on the screen that I felt like, oh, I don't like to watch it, but it was a similar thing where I wasn't like really my heart is racing during the movie, but I left the theater going, am I allowed to step back into the real world after like watching this? I felt so unmoored, so disoriented, and there were a lot of unanswered questions, I feel, that I didn't need the movie to answer, and I wasn't left like grasping for like the author, like the creator, to like, okay, give me this information because I'm still lost, I'm still confused. Like, I wasn't confused after leaving the movie. I was disoriented, I was dazed, I didn't feel like, I kind of walked like I was like in a dream, sort of, which is like a really fantastic effect for a movie to have. But I left Longlegs like, okay, well, who was this man? I'm still trying to, who was this man? Who was this man? He was just a guy who was like into demons. And he liked to sing, and he had that voice, and he put on all this makeup. Who was this man? He was just a scary man. They just thought about, okay, what are the scary things that we could have Nicolas Cage be doing in this movie? And then they had him do the scary things. But why was he doing any of it? Like, there was no Longlegs. Where did the name Longlegs come? And I love the opening scene. I put my long legs on today. I love that. When I talk about like little lines that feel like plays, that's what I mean. And that's where a lot of like, so if you like the writing in this, I suggest you get into like experimental like theater, because there's a lot of specificity that's coming out of that world right now that I'm seeing moving onto the screen lately. Like, I feel like there's a lot more things that are like becoming mainstream films that have that sort of energy. And maybe that's just like experimental like filmmaking as well coming through. But my my background, my homeland is in playwriting and stuff like that, so that's what I'm connecting it to. But who was this man? Long legs for what and for why? What does that have to do? Like, if instead of snakes, they showed pictures of spiders throughout the film, like they cut to images of spiders. Because what snakes? Was it just because, oh, snakes were in the Bible? What's you, like, simple, like, okay, you want to do symbolism, mystic symbolism. I love a good, like, random ass, why are we seeing a rhinoceros right now, right? But I feel like it was something that, it was just snakes again and again and again. And there was nothing, and it was like, okay, what does snakes mean here? Like, if you're gonna do, like, that sort of vague symbol, like, throw in a couple of different things. And then, like, we get, okay, so that we can find a pattern. Because if I see snakes, I see, I see snakes, I see, like praying hands, you know, I see, like naked ladies. I'm gonna get, like, I'm gonna think, oh, Bible. If I see snakes, I see a lion, I see, spiders, I'm gonna get, oh, okay, we're doing, like predatory creatures. You know, I see snakes, I see, like, leather boots, I see, like the interior of a car. I'm thinking, oh, okay, we're doing something with skin, something with leather, something. Oh yeah, like it could be like a skin thing. Like, okay, I love fucking snakes. I should not be this angry to see snakes in a movie. I love snakes. That's like 26% of my personality are these legless anomalies, okay? These weird ass bitches, these weird ass hoes. I should not be this angry to see snakes in a movie, and yet I was like, at the end of the movie, I was like, what? Why the snakes? I would be less mad if it was a lot of spiders. I would go, okay, long leg spiders, okay. This is like a representation of this encroaching evil force, okay. You know, and like I saw one criticism of the movie where, like, you know, like looking at the logic of the piece and going, you know, why wouldn't this cop guy say, like notice that his daughter's birthday is on the 14th and, like, try to protect his daughter, like, take precautions. And I'm not mad at that part because, you know, you hear this girl, you know, like, okay, he likes to murder girls that were born in the, so you know, like, birthdays are important to the movie, okay, because the 14th is the birthday of all these girls. And then you hear about this girl's birthday. I was automatically thinking, okay, she's going to be a victim, like, he's going to go off and kill his family, whatever. Like, that was automatically in my mind. And I sort of like that we sort of just ended up at the birthday party, and, like, everybody had to, like, she had to know when the birthday was because she got invited to the birthday party. He had to know because it's literally his daughter, he's working on this case. Everybody in the world knows, or has the awareness of the 14th, of this girl's birthday being on the 14th, and the murder of it, and it's sort of like an inevitable push towards, and there's like this encroaching dread, this inevitable push towards a tragic, horrific event, and there's not really a force to stop it, and the characters themselves aren't even trying to stop it. I like that, you know, and that sort of fits into the world. It fits into the logic of the world, you know. Your world can have different logic. I'm not mad at things being unexplained or, like, things that are seen as plot holes, because I think sometimes they do fit into the world. But I will say, like, you know, maybe if the snakes were, if everything felt connected, if the horror felt connected to if the engine that was driving the horror of the movie felt connected to anything, to the themes maybe of the movie, or like the emotional core of the movie, or like the plot of the movie, or like the workings of the movie, or the events of the movie, if the engine of the horror felt connected to the rest of the movie, like the rest of the movie felt connected to itself, then maybe people wouldn't be noticing, oh, you know, why is he not? Because they'd be too in the world. But I was definitely, I'm tired. I think for at least 10 years we need to reflect, go to theology school, reflect on the Bible, and once you've done that, once you've spent some time in a seminary, once you've had your monk era for a good decade, you can make your horror movie about Satan, about the devil, about the Bible. Until then, I really do not want to hear it. I really don't want to hear it because it's not going to be something I want to hear. I don't want to hear it because it's not something that I want to hear. Think about that for a moment. Okay, that's all I have to say about Longlegs. I really like whoever the main girl's actress was. She did a good job. It was giving autism. Can I say that? I'm not autistic. But I've considered, could I be autistic? I've looked into it a lot. And so I feel like I have an understanding about, autistic events. And I get excited, to see autistic events represented. Because it is exciting for that sort of representation, even though I'm not being represented. It's sort of like I'm gonna stop on this point, but it was giving autism. I said work.